Early morning creeps into the remote village of Tomosiga to the sound of soft tribal singing. The dawning of this new day is much like those of the past, but today there is an expectancy and almost tangible excitement conveyed by the unified voices around the cooking. 8 years ago, this village of Tomosiga, a rugged and exhausting week's walk from the closest mission station, decided that the narrow ridgeline running through their village was the only possible place to build a jungle runway. They knew that without the support and assistance made possible by mission airplanes, it would take much longer to impact the many villages around them with the gospel. With a resounding whoop to unify them, they attacked the backbone of the mountain in their backyard with little more than traditional wooden digging sticks. Having the enthusiasm and the motivation to move mountains, but not the equipment, they were forced to move dirt, handful by handful, to level the jagged mountain spine. After 7 years of back-breaking effort, and many deaths later, a mission pilot came to examine the first 600 feet of runway completed to date. He found the location to be virtually impossible due to a very narrow spot and many other factors that could only be addressed with big earth-moving equipment. He suggested they find a new location and discontinue work on the present site. 1 year later, I made my first visit to Tomosiga to try and explain the pilot's concerns about the location, but also to help the village find a solution to their need for an airstrip. I was not prepared for what I was to see and experience, for they had given up 7 years of hard work and started a whole new strip further up the same ridge line in the worst site I had ever seen for a runway. It did not take them long to voice their collective opinion in the group meeting that followed when I mentioned the pilot's assessment. We will never stop building this airstrip. Too many of our people have died in the process, and even if our young children ultimately finish it after we are gone, we will continue. Their dauntless, unbending determination forced me to ask, why? Why is it so important that you are willing to pay this heavy price? Their moving answer was the gospel in action. Loving God so much that it motivates us to love others. Yes, even when it hurts and is a personal sacrifice. Did you see all those mountains and valleys and unreached villages scattered all around our remote area as you flew in here today? They asked. Well, our question to you is, who will help those people and bring them to an understanding of God if we don't complete this airstrip, which can become a center for this outreach? How do you argue with such dedicated people who had only recently themselves seen the difference God's truth had made in their lives? In an instant, I knew that I, along with all those who had made this trip possible, praying and giving friends, churches, donors, MAF, Heli Mission, we were all a team. What unified us was the common thread of God's command to go to the most remote corners of the world and God's command to love in word and deed so as to bring about lasting change through demonstrating genuine God-given concern. We had our work cut out for us, and we did not want to miss this opportunity to be on the team with these mountain-moving villagers. The dawn can't come soon enough for the anxious villagers of Tomosiga, singing and praying in the long-awaited day. A historic moment is soon to arrive when, for the first time, the goodwill of all those distant friends and teammates will visibly arrive by helicopter and in the form of shovels, picks, burlap sacks, crowbars, and wheeled carts. The air is electric with anticipation as they think of being equipped and empowered to move a mountain that had defied and taunted them for 8 years. No camera could really capture what happened that day. Although the time, effort, and experience of buying and building the necessary equipment was significant, its value to this destitute village was multiplied 1,000 times over. What a return on investment to see a whole community united, motivated, and charged to do what they were told was impossible. The tool that brought the most excitement was the 8-wheeled cart hooked together with steel cable and a pulley arrangement. This system, welded up by a good friend Mike, allowed the top cart to be loaded while the lower cart was emptied, and then the weight of the top cart, full of dirt, would force it to roll down the incline while at the same time pulling the empty cart up the mountain to be filled again. They could now move in one day what took them a month to move before. They gained a sense of pride and confidence as we spent time showing them how to change tires, maintain, and use the new equipment. They worked from early morning till 6 in the evening, and their only complaint was that the moon was not out so they could work by moonlight. The pastor commented that they felt like Nehemiah with a great task ahead and the challenge of motivating the people to finish in record time. The time had arrived for us to go and leave this unified community to do what they do best to survive in the jungle, and that is to work together. Now the rewards of unified effort could be realized and attained much quicker than before. In an early morning service before departing, I had the privilege of sharing Matthew 17:20 with these very special people. I tell you the truth, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. No tree was too heavy as they carried whole logs to reinforce the steep banks. No stump was too big to drag and fill the narrow area. And what a victory that was! The raw horsepower of over 100 people. No rock was too hard or big to not break apart and move piece by piece, men swinging sledgehammers for the very first time. No person was too unfit to dig and move the tons of dirt, many of them using a shovel or a pick for the first time. No clod of dirt was too small to be left, but found itself dancing along. No child was too young or old to not carry their share of rock and dirt. No litter was too loaded or heavy to keep enthusiastic workers from shouldering it. And no book or video can ever do justice to the process that transpired that day when in simple yet tangible ways you and I showed we cared enough about their tomorrow to give a helping hand today. The power of God's Word telling them that with faith in God nothing was impossible as they moved mountains, coupled with the new tools they were so eagerly using, made for a volatile mixture that was ignitable. They were buried in mud, dirt, and rock well over their heads, digging to make a difference and moving mountains that would have eternal significance. Nothing could be more exciting than empowering people to do the impossible for God, and you and I would do it again if given the chance, in a heartbeat.